Hey, it's Tim, and I'm going to radically change what you think about the Bethlehem Star. It was not a star. I can promise you that. So there are some theories, though, out there that, hey, maybe this was planets aligning together, and all of a sudden there was a bright kind of aberration up in the sky. But we've gone back in astronomy, and what we found was that the nearest time that that happened was about 6 BC, which doesn't align with the right timing of when this so-called star showed up, because it should have been around 3, maybe 2 BC. And same thing goes with a comet. Maybe it was a comet that was coming down. They've gone back. Comets are circular in path. It would have shown back up, and there was no comet during that time frame. Maybe it was a supernova, they say, but they've also gone back. Supernovas leave traces. They've not been able to trace a supernova during that time. So, but here's another thing: is if it was that high up in the sky, you could navigate maybe east west or north south to it, but it specifically says that it settled down over where the baby lay. Can a star do that? No, I don't think so. A comet's not going to be able to do that either. In fact, if it did, because it's about 6,000 degrees Kelvin, it would have fried everything in its path. So that's not feasible. But one other thing it could have been, maybe it was an angel. Do you believe in angels? What is an angel? At least from a standpoint of, when they showed up to the shepherds in the field, there was this bright light and the aberrations, if you will, of the angels in the skies. Well, that means that they were radiating light from themselves. So it's an energy that comes from within the angel that actually radiates out. This plays out in so many of the near-death experiences that I've studied, how they describe that everything has like an inner light that radiates out. It's pretty cool to kind of imagine that. It's something that we would call cold light. Now, we as humans have not been able to develop a completely cold light. LEDs are getting pretty close. There are some bioluminescent luminescent lights that kind of come close to, much like maybe like a firefly, that doesn't really generate heat, but it does give off some light. So there's kind of a biochemical light that goes on. And the reality is, this is probably a lot closer to what actually happened. Is that, let's dial back to Moses' time when he came across the burning bush. Well, let's think about this. It did not actually say the bush was burning. It said like fire. Now, they only knew about 3 different light sources. Fire was a light source, the stars were a light source, and the sun was a light source. Now, maybe you could consider metal when it's been burnt, like burning bronze, has a light that comes off of it. But that's really the only way that they could describe light. And so the bush didn't burn because it was just a ball of energy, a cold light coming from within. And here's the cool part is that when Moses came down off of the hill, he glowed with the radiance of God so much that he had to literally put a veil over his face because he was blinding everybody. They were all scared of him. So that radiance of God was literally embedded in him and coming off of him. And the same thing happened with Jesus. When he came across and went up to the mountain, and he came in front of Elijah and Moses, and he started glowing as well. It said he glowed like the sun, including his face glowed like the sun, including his clothes was bright white, because that energy of God had like embedded in him, and he was now radiating with that. So here comes the point: is if you can believe in angels that radiate the light that comes off, then can't you believe that this star was not a star? that it was a radiant ball of God's light, and it was leading the wise men to Jesus. Now, in every near-death experience, you'll hear these stories of how I was drawn to the light, that there was so much love and compassion and acceptance coming from that light that I had no choice but to draw to the light. It's exactly what I think happened with the wise men. They saw it, they felt it, and like a magnet being drawn in, they were drawn to the light as they watched it, and it led them there. And here's the other final point I want to make is, have you ever bowed down to a baby before? Yes, you might have brought them gifts, a new baby. Let's bring them new diapers. Let's bring them a onesie, things of that sort, right? But have you ever bowed down and worshiped him? Probably not. Even if it's a grandkid and you've been waiting for a grandkid a long time, you might be excited, but I bet you didn't drop to your knees. But they did. So what was the difference there? There was something they felt that drew them in. But if that star, energy ball of light, settled down over where the place that he laid, I will guarantee you what was happening was that Jesus baby was absorbing some of that energy of God, and that body was lying there with the energy of God coming off of him. He was glowing with a radiance, just like you see in the old pictures where they put a halo around him. I bet he actually had a glowing body. And if you saw that, you might bow down too. So I want you to think about this. That energy ball of love and light that comes from God is already inside of you. You just got to find a way to activate it. Often, what the activation point is you invite Christ and his energy, his ball of loving energy to be activated within you. And you just say, Christ, be within me and help me just understand who you are. And it energized me and helped me to spread your love to those that are around you. And so I hope this Christmas season, you will find maybe that star. Maybe it's not up in the sky. Maybe it's living right in your heart. May you have a blessed Christmas and a wonderful new year, and may you bless others as a result.